the National Center for Cryo-EM Access and Training JEOL1230 tutorial. This is our JEOL1230, an 80 kV microscope equipped with a side entry holder and a Gatan CCD camera used for room temperature samples. On the hand panels, we use the brightness knob, beam shift buttons, magnification toggle, and the fine and coarse focus knobs. On the microscope computer, we will note the locations of magnification, high tension voltage, beam current status, specimen position, screen button, beam current and current density values, and the vacuum condition monitor. Before retraction, make sure the beam current is off, the scope was left in SA mag, fluorescent screen is down to prevent a loose grid from falling on the detector. Select the specimen position and recenter the goniometer. Make sure that it's zeroed out. If you cannot click, then you probably have the point off. Put point on so that you can click. This will move the stage. Make sure that tilt and rotation is also centered. Also make sure the objective aperture is out by turning to the right to ensure a loose grid does not fall on the aperture. Now we will switch to air. Grip the holder and pull straight out until you hit the first stop. Then turn counterclockwise to the next stop. Pull a bit more and turn counterclockwise to the last stop and leave the holder in place. On the vacuum condition monitor, specimen chamber will change to air status. We will see valves V34 and V37 open and close. They turn from gray to black to gray again. It is now safe to remove the holder. Carefully pull it straight out. Place the holder on its loading stage. Using tweezers, gently lift the plate. Remove any abandoned specimen that may have been left in the rod. Place your grid in the slot. Make sure that it's securely placed. Gently close the plate on your specimen. Rotate the rod to ensure the specimen is secure. Now we will insert the specimen holder into the goniometer. Line up your pin with the notch located at 9 o'clock. Insert the holder straight until you hit a stop. Toggle the pump switch, the orange light will turn on. Observe the vacuum condition monitor. Specimen chamber will change to evacuate status. Once it changes to vac ready, the green light will turn on. We will turn clockwise to the stop, insert further, and turn clockwise again to the last stop. We will fully insert the holder. On the camera PC, open the Leginon client shortcut and make sure that Digital Micrograph is open. On the Leginon PC, log in using your LDAP account. Open Terminal and type in Beta Leginon or NCCAT Leginon for NCCAT users. Let's create a new session. Next. Select your project. Next. Don't change the name. Let's choose a holder. We're using the JEOL1230 robot holder. Next. Description. Let's start it off with JEOL1230 dash and the description of your project. Next. Make sure that your image directory says GPFS for MEMC users or BEGFS for NCCAT users. We're going to connect to clients. Click Edit, drop-down menu JEOL1230 Cam 1, insert item into list, OK. Next. C2 size is 300 microns. Finish. Click the Application tab, Run. The application we will use is the JEOL1230 MSI raster screen. Our main is Leginon, our scope and cam is JEOL1230 Cam 1. Let's go to Presets Manager. Let's import presets from a previous session. The TEM is JEOL1230, digital camera is Gatan. Limit sessions to last 20 days, click Find. Let's click on our last user. Go through the presets to make sure that the magnification order is correct for your session. When satisfied, we can then select all by clicking Ctrl and A, Import, and Done. Let's click on the grid preset and send to scope. Turn the beam current on, make sure that your beam is centered over a square of interest using the trackball. Next, let's send the square preset to scope. At this magnification, you can put the objective aperture in. Let's also make sure that this preset looks good. Now let's send the whole preset to scope. Make sure that the beam is centered here as well. And lastly, let's send EN to scope. Let's make sure the beam is centered. Click the beam shift button. Using the mouse, hold the right click button and drag the beam in all directions to find the brightest spot. We can use the brightness knob to condense the beam to better center the beam. The beam shift button again. For imaging, we want the current density value to be between 20 and 25, so let's lower this with the brightness knob. We have to save this change in Legion. In Settings, click the Value from Instrument button for intensity and beam shift, and let's save this. FA and FC use the same settings, so let's repeat in these preset settings as well. Let's go to the J1 square node. Make sure that the screen is up and simulate a target. Make sure in sub-square targeting settings that it says allow user verification and queue up targets. Exposure targeting settings, make sure allow user verification is also on. If the target is simulated, go into sub-square targeting and we can select our acquisition targets. Under acquisition, click add targets. Place your target on a location where you would like to image. Next, select a focus target. Place it equidistant between your targets. You can show the exposure area by clicking this toggle. You can see your crosshairs by clicking that toggle. And repeat for focus. You can see your image by clicking original. And let's submit targets. And submit queued targets. Our focus target that we placed is for Z focus. Legion will automatically generate a eucentric height for your sample. You can toggle the correlation image and you can toggle the peak. Make sure that your peak is in the corner of your image. Once complete, an image will be generated in the sub-square node. Go to Exposure Targeting node. Legion has automatically generated acquisition targets for us as well as a focus target. Shift right click to delete all targets. Click Acquisition Add Targets to manually select your own exposure targets. Place a focus target away from your exposure targets to prevent double exposure. Submit targets. Now let's go to the focus node. Legion will automatically find eucentric focus for our sample. You can toggle the correlation image and you can toggle peak as well. And also make sure that the peak is in the corner of the image. Let's go into the exposure node to see our exposure images. Once that's done, you can choose a new square or you can end your session by going to Application, Kill, File, Exit. Be sure to turn the beam off, leave the scope in SA Mag with the screen down. Take out the objective aperture and you can remove your sample if you needed. Thank you for watching.